NDTV, 17th of August 2022, China wants to send occupation troops to Pakistan after docking ship in Lanka, report. In Pakistan and Afghanistan, China has already stationed several Chinese mercenaries to defend its installations from the anger of the region's disenfranchised populace. China has made significant investments in the conflict-prone Pakistan-Afghanistan region as part of its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. According to top diplomatic sources, China intends to station its military and specifically designed outposts to secure its interests in the two nations. China hopes to enlarge its influence in Central Asia through Pakistan and Afghanistan and has made significant investments in both nations. In response to India's fears about spies, a Chinese ship equipped to detect satellites and intercontinental missiles arrived at the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka on Tuesday morning. Pakistan, whose estimates place Chinese investments at around $60 billion, relies heavily on China for financial support and military and diplomatic assistance. China has started to exert pressure on Pakistan to enable the construction of outposts where it would station its armed forces because of the extreme power disparity in its favor. However, Afghanistan, where the Taliban are currently in power, has yet to live up to China's and Pakistan's expectations in many ways. High-ranking diplomatic and security officials in Islamabad, who asked to remain anonymous for this report, are convinced that China's People's Liberation Army is waging a full-scale war to establish military outposts in Pakistan and Afghanistan to facilitate operations and the expansion of its Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. As the world grows more hostile toward China and its exploitative practices, it is attempting hard to get Iranian oil and station its aircraft carrier near Gwadar. A diplomatic source claims that the Chinese ambassador Nong Rong has discussed this issue in meetings with the leaders of Pakistan's foreign ministry, the army, and the Prime Minister's office, Shahbaz Sharif and Bilawal Bhutto. Ambassador Rong has only lately arrived in Pakistan. He hasn't been there since the end of March 2022 of this year. But possibly the first official meeting between Ambassador Rong and the new government and state authorities occurred during the conference, where he demanded the establishment of outposts for the Chinese military. According to the source, the Chinese envoy has consistently pressed to protect Chinese citizens and projects. In addition to requesting the use of the Gwadar International Airport for its fighter jets, China has already sought security outposts in Gwadar. Another high insider said that the facility, which can be used for military purposes, will soon operate, as evidenced by its fencing. The Pakistani populace might not be at ease with a significant Chinese military presence. Thus the problem has its delicate aspects, comparable to enslavement by the British East India Company. There have been worries that the nation is already in a debt trap and that Chinese strategies may reduce it to the status of a Chinese colony. China and Pakistan each have different worries about Afghanistan. Pakistan and China anticipated unwavering support from the island nation following the Taliban takeover. This, however, has not fully come to pass. Pakistani demands included keeping Indians out of Afghanistan as one of their top priorities. The Taliban, who are based in Kandahar, do not, however, have a strong enough affinity for Pakistan to be able to dictate policy. The Taliban have a strong desire for a self-sufficient foreign policy, which includes relations with India. Even the Taliban's Minister of Defense, Mullah Yaqub, has suggested receiving military instruction in India. However, this was not the only instance in which Pakistan anticipated adherence to its demands from the newly elected Afghan government. It was anticipated that the Taliban, particularly the Haqqani-affiliated organizations, would aid in the demise of Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan and turn over wanted militants to the Pakistani army. Soon it became evident that the Haqqanis would not comply. The explanation was that the Pakistani army had no choice but to negotiate complex ceasefire negotiations with the TTP. The explanation was that the Kandaharis and some TTP leaders had similar ancestry. The Durand Line was also expected to be recognized as an international border by the new Afghan government. Pakistan had recently spent a lot of money building a wire fence, but within weeks the Taliban and TTP had cut the wall and claimed Pakistan's Fata territory. A source claims that General Bajwa, the head of the army staff in Pakistan, had previously expressed concerns about a Taliban takeover but was rebuffed by Faiz Hamid, his intelligence chief, and strong corps commanders. China has expressed some alarm over the developments in Afghanistan. The Chinese are concerned about several things. There is no indication that the Taliban or Haqqanis are interested in turning over Uyghur rebels to the Chinese government. China views them similarly as not being committed to expanding its BRI network in Afghanistan. According to the diplomatic source, China desires Central Asia and Europe access via the CPEC in Afghanistan. Pakistan tricked the Chinese by asserting that it controlled the Taliban. Beijing is worried that Balochi organizations and the DTP may work with Uyghur extremists to sabotage the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC. Chinese nationals have been the subject of several attacks inside Pakistan, notably the bombing in Gujrat in April 2021, which the Chinese ambassador narrowly avoided. 3 Chinese nationals were killed by a Balochi suicide bomber close to the Confucius Institute in Karachi a year later. Due to these instances, China has again pressed Pakistan to send its security forces, a request Pakistan has previously rejected. The sources claim that China aims to increase its strategic influence in Pakistan by sending security professionals to guard its citizens and projects there. According to the source, Beijing has to protect Pakistan and Afghanistan with its military installations to develop its BRI project and invest in Afghanistan. China has reminded Pakistan of its past practice of granting outposts to the United States and other nations during the Cold War. China has made significant investments in Pakistan, and as time goes on, there is an increasing need for security and outpost arrangements. According to informed sources, Pakistan owes 300 billion Pakistani rupees to Chinese enterprises, threatening to shut down Pakistan's power plants if the debt is not paid. The leading Chinese projects currently underway in Pakistan are the Bastan Industrial Zone, Gwadar Port, Special Zone I and Zone 2, some patrolling units on CPEC's western alignment that cover the Awaran, Huzdar, Hashab, and Turbat areas, Maman Marble City, SEZ, close to Mohammed Agency, and Sastri Port and Mokpandas Special Economic Zone in Gilgit-Baltistan. On the one hand, Pakistan is caught in China's debt trap diplomacy, and the Chinese government is continually telling Pakistan that they do not have faith in the Pakistani security apparatus. Pakistan does not want to irritate China, whose financial assistance it frequently receives. However, sources who sought anonymity for this study owing to their close connection to decision-makers in the country argue that accepting the demand would not only further damage its reputation abroad but might also result in domestic issues. Pakistan is in a difficult situation due to China's most recent pressure tactic because whether it complies with the demands or not, it will suffer the repercussions. Similar to the British East India Company, Pakistan does not want to be colonized by China.